G'day. Day 7 of our walk to Santiago. Last night was quite a bit of an effort. When we finally arrived at Gran, we just collapsed onto our beds. Like we were so just tired. The pain in our bodies has emanated from deep inside the joints and the muscles. So, it was just something else to behold. This morning, actually, there was a young Korean girl in our kitchen area, and she said that she almost died yesterday. So it's not just us, it was even young people who the trial was so strong. James went to Mass at 7, and I met him at about 7:40 to look for the one open restaurant in Gran, which we could not find. So we actually did find a bar cafe whose kitchen really was closed. So I just selected a buffet of kransky, of chicken kebabs, of black pudding, which we didn't really eat, and just basic food like that for us to snack on. As we did so, the cafe bar was just filled with townsfolk, all done up to look like Dracula or whomever, because they were out celebrating Halloween on that Saturday night. It was dark as it were. We couldn't get out there fast enough to just get home, get back to our room and just crash on our beds to sleep off the pain and the weariness. So we woke this morning, and I was just reading, the significance of, do we listen to our mind or do we listen to our body? At times, it's very important to listen to our body. And we actually did that today. We listened to our body because our bodies really were saying, Ron and James, you don't have it in you to do a 30-kilometre walk in the continuing wind, albeit having reduced to maybe 30 kilometres an hour. So simply and unashamedly, we took a cab from Gran down to Bellarado, 18 kilometres, to get out of the cab and then to walk the final 12 kilometres up here to Villafranca. Bellarado is a very interesting town. It was settled, well, way back in Roman times, actually, but in 1166, it was settled by King Alfonso I of Aragon, and he granted it special privileges. And so there's a castle that's at the very top of the mountain overlooking Bellarado, the remains thereof. It was a friendly castle. There's no real accounts of war. As a matter of fact, in Bellarado, it is recorded that that the French, that the Muslims, the Jews, the Castilian Christians all lived in harmony within the town for centuries. Interestingly, Bellarado refused to pay the tax to Camino, Santiago, to the chapel, to the church, cathedral in Santiago. Apparently there was a tax that was charged for all the towns along the way from Camino, of the Camino, but Bellarado refused to pay it. There was just something of a real independence in the town. Finally, in about the 14th century, there was an anti-Semitic move and quite a bit of conflict, and the Jews were actually expelled even from Spain at that time, typical of anti-Semitism through the millennia. The church of Santa Maria is built beneath the castle, and alongside it you can still see some hermitages or homes that were built into the rock, where people, I suppose priests or whomever, monks lived alongside the church. We walked out of Bellarado and made our way the 12 kilometres to Villafranca. There are a few villages along the way, but in particular, as we walked through one town there, Tosantos, on the right, in the cliffs, there is very distinctly a hermitage. It's the hermitage of Donistra Sonora de la Pina, and it's built into the face of the rock, into caves. Legends hold that an image of the child Jesus has been there since 712 and was hidden under a bell to protect it from invading Muslims. It was originally established by this lady known as La Ermita, who lived in those caves above Tosantos and ministered to passing pilgrims. So the chapel has been built into the cave, and once a year the people from Tosantos march up there to celebrate the La Ermita. And again, just symbolic of the ministry along the way to the ancient pilgrims. We continued walking along, and about half a kilometre before we arrived in Villafranca, there's what's called the San Felicius Apse. The ruins are all that remains of a 10th century monastery that was there. But there's a memorial stone on the remains just saying that it was dedicated to Count Diego Rodriguez, who reconquered and resettled Burgos. And apparently he is buried there. That's some history that we will search out as we make our way to Burgos. We continued up the hill to Villafranca here. We called in to a cafe and had coffee, beer, and some refreshments whilst we waited for the 2 p.m. opening of this hotel where we've come. We've come to this particular hotel because we've got 6 hours to do work. James has a lot of work to do. And so, yeah, we were able to settle into this place. Now, this hotel was built and dedicated as a pilgrim's hospital by the Queen in 1377. Prior to that, there had been other pilgrim hospitals along the way to minister to the pilgrims who were on their way. But the Queen at the time wanted this a special hospital built for pilgrims, but also for the poor, for the lepers, for those who needed special care. And so this place was established as that. It is rather magnificent, as some stills that you will see describe. So here we are, just settled into this room in this magnificent building that must have been just an incredible hospital for the poor. Isn't it wonderful to have that Christian heritage, that caring heritage for the pilgrims on the way? Our reflection today, the 6th exercise, the Ignatian exercise, was really to just yield to God. Thus far, we've been looking at and contemplating God's love for us. Today, there was the passage from Jeremiah about the potter and the clay, and how the potter is able to, just reshape the clay as he makes it. And the challenge for us was to consider maybe how it is, looking back upon our lives, that God intervened and reshaped us, and is intervening and reshaping us. And the question, I suppose, really is, God, we yield to you our lives, the decades yet to come. And Lord, we yield to you, shaping us according to how it is that you want us to live. Jesus came into the world and presented himself. You have given me a body, he says, Hebrews 10. You have given me a body. I have come to do your will in this body, quoting from one of the Psalms. And indeed, we must admit that now, having rested a bit, our bodies are more at rest and more, less pained and aching. But we know all about having received a body from walking this Camino, especially yesterday. So yes, we've received a body too. But this body is to be inhabited by our soul and by the life that God has given us. But also, we have invited the Lord to take residence in us by his Spirit. And so we offer our body, our soul, and our spirit to God. Lord, do with us what you will. God bless you. Thanks for joining us.